gotten to the growing edge of your spiritual life, which I found very poignant because that is so true. I think a lot of people can relate to that, where you get as far as you get, and then you kind of get to that edge where you're like, okay, I need something that's going to take me through this new thing. So can you please take us through a little bit of your journey?
Yeah, I've been a professor. So like, even when I was a little kid, I've always loved reading. So I've been like I was like the best student in most of the classes. Again, not bragging, that was just me. I was really good at school, all the way through college. And I felt like I had a calling to ministry too. So I pursued ordination. I've been a pastor of a couple of different churches. And I went all the way through and got a PhD in Bible, mostly because I've always been super curious in a lot of people. I was never able to get the answers to the really hard questions that I answered or that I would ask. And so I just kind of like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to figure this out. And so I just kept going. And so what happened to me is basically 20 years into my first marriage. Looking back, I should have probably seen this stuff coming. And there was always some issues, but I'm not going to make this about that. But I basically had a complete relational crisis where 20 years into a marriage, my former wife just doesn't want to be married anymore, and we're just flat out done, like almost overnight. We have the 20-year celebration, and then like a month later I find out that, wow, I'm going to be going down to this really dark hole. And it was utterly terrifying. I wasn't prepared for this because I felt like I'd gave my whole life to do what I thought was God's work. That was over 10 years ago now, that experience. And so I just, at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a comeback on this whole thing. That's what I was thinking. I'm going to be a better man, not a bitter man. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I'm just going to let go of this because I know that I'm completely loved. And that got me then. I mean, I still did kind of traditional Christian things, reading scripture and praying and such, but I started experimenting with what it's a whole part of the faith that I never knew about, which is contemplative spirituality. And that's what led me into this silent meditation practice that, I wrote the book about. And I also did a lot of really extensive journaling to just kind of let go of my own pain, my guilt, my shame, my fear. And then in the book that you had a chance to read recently, and I'm grateful that you took the time to look at it, was this basically the story of me looking back on how I actually ended up kind of moving into this 2.0 or 3.0 version of myself through these deeper silence and solitude practices.